The US have beaten England 2-1 in the Women's World Cup semi-final in Lyon. This has taken a lot of takes to get the right video, so I'm going to try and do this in one now. The two US goals come from England overplaying at the back, and this is a thread throughout the game tonight, and they've been guilty of it throughout the tournament. They've been caught overplaying at the back, trying to be too cute at the back with the ball. Christine Press, the reason why she scores is because Lucy Bronze loses her and misreads the flight of the ball, but England turn over the ball about 30-40 seconds before from overplaying at the back. It's a brilliant header though, brilliant header. Goalkeeper, could she do better? Who knows? That's a hypothetical question, but it's a brilliant header. But when you're unmarked, you've got to get it on target, otherwise it's a wasted opportunity. Ellen White's goal, that's England's first attempt on target. The cross from Beth Mead is spot on. The run from Ellen White is spot on, and she uses the angle of her body and the angle of her foot to guide the ball into the net. There's none of this put the laces through it. She just opens her body up and uses the pace of the cross to guide it off her boot and past the goalkeeper. It is a brilliant finish. Alex Morgan, her goal comes from England overplaying at the back again. They're trying to be too over complex with the passing at the back. Sometimes simple long range passes are the best in some opportunities. I understand why they want to play out from the back. It's a style of football that a lot of coaches are pushing upon their players to try and play. It's a trend in both men and women's football to play out from the back, the sweeper keeper kind of thing. We're seeing a lot of that in the game in the last 5 to 10 years. But sometimes simple is the best policy. And England are guilty of just overcomplicating things. Alex Morgan and Ellen White are both joint top scorers at the World Cup with 6 goals apiece. So they both have another game to play in. One's in a World Cup final, one's in a third place playoff. Both have the opportunity to go home with the golden boot. So all is not lost for England. They can still finish third, and that's still a great result. It's what you call the minor final in another sense. It's not where we want to be, but you can still say we're the third best team in the world, and we've got a long way. And this is the first time England have actually been behind in a game this tournament as well, and they went a long period of time without conceding. The US have actually conceded more goals than England have, so that's something to consider. The Morgan goal though is a brilliant finish, because you've still got to finish them, even if they are turnovers and sloppy play. You've still got to finish. I think that is a deserved half-time scoreline. It's 2-1. I think the US edged it. They created more. They had more shots on target. They created more opportunities. England only had 2 shots in the first half, both on target, mind, but only 2 chances created. US created a lot more. Hell of a lot more. I think that's deserved first half lead. The controversy in the second half, I'm not going to go into the England misplacing passes all the time and the US misplacing passes as well, and it being I think the heat and humidity has had an effect on the performances of both sides. But the controversies, let's talk about the controversies, because this is what I think is going to not necessarily overshadow the result, but be the main talking point from this game. Ellen White's disallowed goal. As the offside rule currently is interpreted, it is offside, and we're talking 2-3 inches at most, about that much offside. There's no clear advantage there. It's not as if she's 2 or 3 feet offside. Then yeah, that's offside. But it's the current interpretation of the rule. The VAR is not at fault here. The VAR actually works quickly and efficiently. It's the offside rule that's regressive. It's penalised really great build-up play. It's the best bit of play that I've had in the entire match. It's a brilliant finish, and the US get away with some really average defending. They had issues picking up Ellen White's runs, and the 2 centre-backs are too far apart. And the midfield coverage in front, maybe, is it a formation thing? I don't know. Is it a concentration thing? Because the US have switched off defensively in this tournament before. The US are used to going forward and having a lot of goals and a lot of attacking play, but they are guilty of switching off the back in games, and I think they got away with one. The offside rule, we can debate, does the offside rule need looking at? I think the wording, the interpretation, it's a very negative rule. The benefit of the doubt going to the attacking team is gone. There is no clear daylight there. We're talking that much. If you want to know what that much is, just type in Jimmy Hill's chin. If you are a Coventry City fan or a fan of British football in years gone by, the old match of the day, Jimmy Hill, ex-player, ex-manager, ex-pundit, he passed away recently. He had a very big chin. We are literally talking, that much, my hand offside. That is how the rule is interpreted. If any part of your body is past the last defender, it's classed as offside, which I think is a bit ludicrous. But it's rightly given, but it's a controversial decision in the sense that the rule is regressive and it's not used as it was 4 years ago. That would have been a goal and it would have been 2-2. England are on top at this point. Now we can discuss that. They get a penalty review from VAR, and I think this one is a penalty. In my view, no. That is not a penalty in my view. There's not enough contact there for Ellen White to go down in the way she does. There is contact there, but nowhere near enough for that to be a penalty. In my view, the length of time VAR takes to come to a decision is too long. That's also possibly contributed to the penalty miss. And I'm being honest here, I don't think that was a penalty. I think the Ellen White goal should have stood, but that's on an interpretation a couple of years ago of offside. FIFA like changing the interpretation of rules regularly and putting new rules in on a regular basis. Been a controversial thing. Steph Houghton steps up to take the penalty. Now, we can debate whether it's a penalty or not. VAR's given it, and it's taken a good 3-4 minutes to give it, which is frustrating, and it must be frustrating for the players, both the goalkeeper and the penalty taker. It must be. Steph Houghton is the one who's chosen to take the penalty. Nikita Parris has missed 2 out of her 3 penalties, 2 in a row. I think that is the right decision by Phil Neville, is to put someone else in to take the penalty. Whether it should be Steph Houghton or not is another thing. She looked very, very sloppy in this game. She hadn't been great in this game. Lots of misplaced passes. She looked leggy and tired. I think the tournament has taken a lot out of these players. The heat and humidity has clearly had an effect. Regardless of England getting an extra day off, there's nothing they could do on that day off, because one of the days last week in France, it was 45, 46 degrees. You're not going to get anything done in that heat. You'll get heat stroke in that heat, if not worse. So the debate, they've had an extra day off, means nothing with they're going to have to train in the evenings when it's a bit cooler, if you can. And it's still in the high 20s, low 30s and high humidity. But she looked tired. It was a tired penalty. It was a poor penalty. Thing about England, all their penalties in this tournament, they've gone to the right. All 4 penalties they've taken, they've gone to the right. 3 have been saved. 1 nearly got saved, and actually the power of Nikita Parris' penalty against Scotland sends it over the line. From this point on, England lose it. They lose it mentally, and they give away a lot of silly free kicks. And Millie Bright had already been booked in the game. Agricultural challenge is the best way to describe that one. It's not the worst tackle I've seen at this World Cup, but it ranks up there in the top 5, top 10 poor tackles at this World Cup. It should be a straight red anyway. The fact she's got a second booking is irrelevant. I think she should have been given a straight red for that. Sums up England's night: sloppy, scrappy, and lethargic. And I'm giving a fair assessment. They weren't great at times. There was some brilliant build-up play for Ellen White's goal, the one that's disallowed. They did have patches where they played really, really well, but too often tonight, misplaced pass, putting receiving player under pressure, defending not at their best, sloppy, scrappy defending. Millie Bright's been guilty of a lot of all of that throughout the tournament. She's looked a liability, and I think they need to find a different centre-back partner for Steph Houghton. I think Millie Bright is not the player that is the centre-back partner that England need going forward if they are to do well in the Euros in 2 years' time, World Cup 4 years' time. I think looking at every England game, Millie Bright has looked suspect, and that sending off sums up her tournament. While England have been really great going forward and have scored a lot of goals and have been really great in attack when they turn it on, defensively they've got away with some. Millie Bright has been the issue defensively for a lot of the issues that England have had. Misplaced passes, putting the receiving player of the pass under a lot of pressure, telegraph passes which were intercepted, and poor positional play at times. And the reason why she gets sent off is, firstly, it's a bad tackle, but secondly, she's out of position. She's drawn out of her centre-back position. She's close to the touchline, which is the wing-back's position on the midfield. Should have been clearing that up, and she lunges in for a tackle that she could stay on her feet. She could go in like a block tackle, like where you put your shins in the way. She goes in foot first, studs over the ball. It's a red. The US used their, I think, stronger mental side of the game. They were stronger mentally. They wind the clock down. It's 2-1 final whistle. I do think the US did edge it. I think they were the better side over the full match. But I think England didn't help themselves with the 2 goals they conceded by giving the US the ball, and overcomplicating their passing. But I think the heat, the humidity's had an effect as well on both sets of players, because the US were at times also sloppy in this game, and defensively they switch off at times. If whoever wins out of Holland and Sweden, I think the US are going to be in a game in the World Cup final. They're not going to have an easy one. This wasn't an easy one for them either. They were put under pressure. They looked human. But there we go. It's 2-1 to the US. Now, the note bene. Note well. Engalnd White is the first England player to score in 5 straight World Cup games, be it male or female versions of the World Cup. Harry Kane, Gary Lineker, eat your hearts out. She's done something you haven't, which is score in every game she's played in the World Cup. She could still score in 6 straight games if she scores and plays in the 3rd, 4th place playoff. If she scores in that game, she scored in 6 consecutive World Cup games. The USA have a record of 43 wins in 44 games themselves, so that's interesting to note. And I think that includes friendlies and competitive internationals in the last 2 years. The last competitive international they lost was 2 years ago. The last friendly they lost was in February this year. So they have a terrifying record in competitive internationals. So there we go. Thank you very much for watching. Obviously, tomorrow night we have Holland versus Sweden. I think the conditions are going to be very, very similar with heat and humidity. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Swedes and the Dutch adapt to that, considering that they have had even less time off than England and the US. So it's going to be interesting to see how they adapt to that. But for now, thank you very much for watching. Place your comments below, and I'll have some more videos for you very, very soon. Also, do not forget to like and subscribe. Good night for now.